16 Minutes of Care is a podcast based on the CARE principles, a strategic framework that reveals how brands create impact by caring and, as a result, grow their business. In each episode, Isabel welcomes a company executive who explains how CARE has helped their business grow successfully and sustainably.
Welcome everyone, 16 Minutes of Care, third episode with Thomas Van Eeckhout, CEO at 𝗃𝗍𝗍, an IT services and solutions company that is really human and people-centric. Today, Thomas, welcome back.
Thank you.
Today I would like to dive deeper into the CARE framework, because within the idea of taking care, better care of people and planet, within the word care, there's also 4 shifts in the way we work that we can do better if we look at the future. The C stands for collaboration, the A stands for agility, the R stands for reliability, and the E stands for empathy. And we did a benchmark study. We have developed a CARE scan together with 𝗍𝗿𝗄, a market research company, and we did a benchmark study on 1,000 Belgian companies. And we saw that the scores of the Belgian companies is not that good. In average, Belgian companies score 46% on 100 on collaboration, 51 on agility, so that's just good enough, 60% on reliability, because building trust and being a reliable partner, that's the best score, and 55% on empathy. Okay. So there is some mileage to do things better. So I would like to discuss with you a little bit more each and every step within this framework. And let's start with collaboration. You talked about it in the previous episode. Internal collaboration, sharing your knowledge, it's something that is very important at 𝗃𝗍𝗍.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's a bit of a cliche, but the performance we have as a company is the sum of the individual performances that we have. So I think it is our task, it's our responsibility as an employer, as a leader inside of the company to really foster that culture of collaboration. And it's something that we really succeed in, and I touched upon that in the past episode, where I explained that we try to make that as tangible as possible, and we really try to give more importance to people that show that right attitude. And I think by doing that, we succeed in having this positive movement. So whenever somebody joins, it becomes so easy and so evident to basically contribute to that model. A feedback, because I have a small discussion with most of our people after they have 3 months inside of the company. It's something that I want to do, because I want to make sure that what we promise to candidates, that we live by that promise, and the best way of doing that is to have that small discussion after those first 3 months. And a feedback that I often receive is that all of the colleagues, not just 1 or 2, all of the colleagues are really helping new people. To the point where somebody shared with me that she tries to avoid looking too long at people, because they always say, do you have a question? Can I help? Is there something that I can do for you? So that we really have that culture, which is a very nice thing to see. And whenever people share that, I always stress the importance of the fact that it's all of us that contribute to that culture. So whenever you, as a new joiner now, but in 6 months, whenever you have a new colleague next to you, make sure to do that same thing. Better, try to take it to the next level. And that is something that is very important, and I think it's very important in the success that we have as a company as well. Yeah.
Nice. Let's talk about agility. Agility, you also mentioned it before. You work in IT and security and cloud services. It's really an industry, and technology is evolving so fast. How do you keep up to speed? How do you keep all employees? Because you said in the first episode, it's not so much about knowledge, it's not so much about competence, but that competence also has to be there. How do you train people? How do you...
Yeah, we training is one of the most important investments that we have as a company. We almost only hire people that are just leaving school, young graduates, people that are at the very beginning of their career. So our entire model is focused on investing in people, taking them to the next level, training them, making sure that they become the experts in their field of or in what they do. So that is something that we really focus on very much. Agility is a very important aspect for any company, I believe. I think our market is evolving constantly and in a very fast way. And then again, I think we can train agility. I think we can train people to manage change and to cope with change, because change is never easy. But we have an organization that is in constant evolution, which means that we continuously try to adapt our organization in order to be in line with the reality we're facing in the market, and that is something that helps whenever we need to change. We're ready to do it, because we in a lot of cases have anticipated that change, and if it wasn't possible to anticipate, then people at least have the habit of change. And it's about small things. Every 6 or 12 months people change places inside of the office, and that is a very easy example, but it helps people. We try to avoid people being fixed in the same situation for too long at a time. Yeah.
It probably helps that you have a quite young population of employees, because like you said, you mainly hire people coming just graduating. What is the average age in the company?
I think the average age nowadays is just above 30.
Okay.
And if we take the average age of people that have joined the past 2 years, it'll be around 24, 25. Yeah.
So it probably helps because people are younger, they have a more flexible mindset, I suppose. Or do you see that it's more to do with characters and?
Yeah, it's about attitude. I know people of 25 that are really not flexible, and I know people at 35 that are very, very flexible. So I always, it's dangerous to really generalize and talk about generations and all of those things. It's about mindset, and it's about attitude, and it's about context as well. So if you have a context where change is constant, then I think I think we can train ourselves in order to really adapt and change in an almost constant way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would like to switch to reliability. IT services for mid-size companies, it's very important. They really are looking for trusted partners. Talking about your clients now, how do you build a reliable relationship with clients? How do you create trust these days?
In our strategy, we are very customer intimate, and it's something that I often say internally, is that we exist thanks to our customers, and a company is only as strong as the trust it receives from its customers. So it's a constant effort. To be really honest, as we grow as a company, we might have the tendency to focus too much on ourselves, which is something we cannot accept. So in a lot of cases, I will make sure that we talk about the customer and what the customer is looking for. So that's the first mindset that is very important. Then again, it's about structure. You need to have people that are following up and as close as possible on our customers, on the projects that we deliver. And I hope, or at least that's the feedback that we receive from our customers, is that we're not always perfect. We sometimes do things that we shouldn't have done, but we always take responsibility. And we will always work towards a solution. And I know for a fact that our customers will always be satisfied with what we do, even if we might have some issues, because in IT we're basically facing issues. That's a given, but it's the way we cope with them. It's the way we will always communicate in a very transparent way, and we will always take our responsibility. And I think that when talking about reliability, I think those are very important aspects.
Mm-hmm. The E of care stands for empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious what your feelings are or what your thoughts are about empathy, because the IT sector and empathy might seem like big opposites, soft skills, hard skills. So how do you feel when I talk about empathy?
I think it is one of the most important elements in coaching, in management, and in leadership. Is if you want a KPI to be green, you need to understand the story behind the figures and behind the results that you're facing. So it is very important. And it might be 50% in that relationship of a manager and an employee. I find empathy to really be very important. Now, how do we try to manage that? I believe that when we decide on who joins our management team, we need to find that caring, that empathy inside of, or managers need to have that capacity to look beyond the figures and beyond the results and really understand what is going on, both in professional and private lives of people. And whenever we really understand the person and understand what he or she is driven by and understand what he or she finds important, then I believe we can really have an impact on careers of people and on performance, because in the end it's always about performance, but empathy allows us to have a positive impact on that performance. So I believe that even in our IT context, we really have a lot of empathy towards our people and also towards our customers. Basically, every stakeholder we have at Easy. Yeah.
Is important. There's a lot of studies that show that, unfortunately, since COVID, but even if COVID is more or less, it's not finished, but we are living a different kind of COVID today than we did 2 years ago. That figures of loneliness, of anxiety, burnouts, people simply being afraid with everything that is happening today in the world, are on the rise. But also, not only every age generation has issues on that, but also amongst youngsters and young people and young professionals, those figures are on the rise. You have a very young set of employees. Is it something that you also feel within your company?
Not really, but I don't want to claim that we're not facing that. But I don't really see that on the surface. But it's something that we obviously need to be careful with. I think that indeed we have quite a young. We have young employees, people that are at the beginning of their career, and when thinking about COVID back in 2020, at the early days of COVID, when almost every company stated that they were going to full home working, after a couple of weeks we shifted and we allowed a certain presence in our offices. We have 8 offices, and a lot of those offices allow for 200 or 300, or at least one allows for 200 or 300 people to be in the office, and the other ones are always around 50 or 100 people. So we allowed 10% of occupancy in the offices, allowing to have 3, 4, 5 people in the office at any given time, and that allowed for anybody to have perspective of leaving his or her home office and going to the office. That's basically because we sensed that need. We noticed people were doing video calls in their couch or in the living room with their parents being there and all of those things, which is quite heavy from an emotional perspective. So we tried to give them that perspective to come to the office and to leave that home office. But it's something that we need to be aware of the mental state of our employees, because we, even if it's not our core business or our core responsibility, if we expect people to basically help customers be performant and push our company towards success, then that will not be possible if their mental state isn't okay.
Capable of. Great. Thank you so much, Thomas, for this episode on collaboration, agility, reliability, and empathy, the 4 shifts in the way we work together in the future. In the next episode, I will talk with Thomas about care for the planet, because we had a huge talk already during 3 episodes how easy is giving a positive impact on people, but we'll also talk what their positive impact is on the planet. Thank you very much and take care.
Want to create lasting impact with your brand while feeding sustainable growth? Check out 𝗃𝗏𝗚𝗏𝗡 and see how we can help you. 16 Minutes of Care is an independent production from Isabel Verstraeten, brand strategist, founder of the Care Principles, and author of the book, Does Your Brand Care? Help us reach more companies who are looking for caring and sustainable growth by giving this podcast all the stars it deserves and by sharing it in your network. Thank you and take care.